2013. I'd ask everyone in attendance to rise and now join us in singing O Canada. Thank you to the National Film Board of Canada for those images of our country, and to our very own Grand Prairie Boys Choir for the audio. For those that are joining us watching online, tonight is our first council meeting with our new technology. On the positive side, we shouldn't have any more hiccups in our voting. Everybody's microphone should work when they're supposed to. On the downside, you'll be able to see us much more clearly. So judge for yourself whether that was an upgrade or not. But we'd move on to the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the minutes of the City Council meeting held July 8th, 2013 be adopted.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Seeing nothing, then I'll call for the vote. Okay, thank you. And that motion carries. That take us to the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion for the adoption of the agenda as presented? Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the council adopt the agenda as presented.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Were there any additions to the agenda?
Nope.
Seeing nothing, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries as well. And that takes us to the delegation portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come forward and address council on any community-related matter. And we had advance notification of one delegation, Mr. Dugas, the Executive Director of Ronald McDonald House, Northern Alberta. Mr. Dugas. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship and City Council, for this opportunity. We greatly appreciate it. My name is Martin Dugas. I'm the Executive Director of Ronald McDonald House, Northern Alberta. To my right is Dale Bond, one of our development officers who works here in Grand Prairie, who has also utilized the facilities and programs at Ronald McDonald House as a family. We have two things we'd like to show you. One is a video. It's a testimonial of one of our guests. And then the other is an overview of our organization through the use of a couple PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to start with the video. And once again, thank you.
Here because it's so nice. It's a home away from home. There's lots of toys downstairs, and I love those race car things. And I love it upstairs too. Like you can cook and like you can eat and you can barbecue sometimes too. It's just so nice. It's a nice place, and like they have those mats wrapped around these poles so if you hit one when you're riding a car, dang, it doesn't hurt. And I love playing with the camera. walk around and there's so much to do. I just don't know where to start. That's why I love it here. I really do love it. Do you notice how I'm telling you different things? Because I love different things. I like having my family here because they're nice and I love them and I wouldn't like to be away from them. I would be too cared to live here by myself. You should try to donate as much toys and money as you can because what if something breaks? Like, what if a roof falls off by a tornado? Then what? Then they would have the money and support to fix it. And maybe I'll donate a few of my toys. Please, everyone, come to Ronald McDonald House and see it. It's really fun, even just for a visit for one night. As long as there's a room available, you can check in. And all you need is a key, your name, driver's license number. That's about it. I think this is where I'm going to work when I grow up. So that's why I like it here. How was that?
Sorry.
I like it here because
There we go. Thank you. What I love about that video is that Kyler never mentions being sick at any point. Yet every time he comes to Edmonton and stays with us, it's because he's getting treatment and he's seeing many doctors for a variety of reasons. I'm going to tell you a story about something that's really important to us, and it involves Kyler. Every moment of every family's life makes a difference, and it counts, and it takes a community to make that happen. We have a program at Ronald McDonald House where volunteer groups come in and cook a meal for everybody in the house, and then they share a meal with them. And on one of these nights in August of 2011, we had staff staying a little bit late to make sure that this home for dinner group was settled, that they could provide that sense of normalcy and comfort and community for our families, and just make sure they were settled. And while our staff was talking to Kyler's mom said, "What the heck is that sound?" She said, "What, the ice cream truck?" And then all of a sudden the mom said, "Ice cream truck?" She'd never actually seen an ice cream truck in her life. She's from northern Saskatchewan, in a small community. And she'd seen it on TV, but never saw it with her own eyes. And all of a sudden they looked down the hallway, and Kyler was sprinting to the front door. He'd never seen, heard, or anything about this. Our staff couldn't wait to get down the street and get the ice cream truck back for this child. So there's a picture of him in this one slide. We call it the ice cream truck story. That's his picture of getting his first snow cone from an ice cream truck at Ronald McDonald House. Now, I thought that was really important because a few weeks later I got to share with a company that was the first ever to sign up for Home for Dinners at Ronald McDonald House monthly. And I just wanted to say thank you because it creates the circumstances that allows our community to be connected and make a difference on a day-to-day basis for these families. And I just wanted to share the story and say thank you. Sure enough, a few weeks after that, they were back in town to do a Home for Dinner, and so was Kyler. And Kyler came up to me and he asked me, "Could you come with me to get a DVD and a video game? My dad's coming into town." And I said, "Sure, let's go out and sign one out from the front." And so we were walking to the front, and he goes, "And I want to meet some new friends." And I said, "Sure, I got just the people for you to meet." So we went to the last table as we were walking to the kitchens, and I said, "This is the gang from Cargill. The gang from Cargill, this is Kyler." And he walked up to the table, put his hands on the table. He was pretty small back then. And he said, "I wasn't having a good day." And then he kind of crouched in and leaned in, and he said, "And I got ice cream from the truck." And everybody burst out laughing because they realized he had just shared his big secret to his new friends. In this neighborhood, ice cream comes in trucks, and nobody could possibly know that. He only shares that with his special friends. At Ronald Ronald McDonald House, our vision is to create a world where the best possible services are offered to families despite their circumstances. When their child is seriously ill and receiving treatment in northern Alberta, we want to be part of that conversation. Our mission is to provide a home away from home for persons or for families with seriously ill or injured children. When we began, we started off with a safe, affordable accommodation to reduce the financial burden to families. We realized early that keeping families together was a good thing on many levels. The psychosocial support, that stability that it provided was important. We came to realize over time that it enhanced the clinical experience and outcomes. In Canada, when a Ronald McDonald House is attached to or affiliated with a hospital, kids go home 5.3 days earlier than when it's not. And our ultimate aspiration is that we are part of the landscape of support that these families resume normalcy. So when they go back to their communities, 18 months, 24 months after they've had a medical crisis, that they're starting to re-enter their lives in as normal of a way as possible. I'd like to share with you a little bit about how we operate. You know, our philosophy is families first. It's the families of those we serve. It's the families of our volunteers. It's the families of our donors, sponsors, and staff. It's families first. Our approach is we ask you leave the house a little stronger than you found it. And when people come in for tours, all we ask them to do is ask somebody a question, make some eye contact with the family, inject some normalcy. Where's the bathroom? Do you guys have any salt around here? Those simple questions, you know, that confirm and encourage people that their lives are more than a medical crisis or a diagnosis. The one great insight that we've come to realize is that we are at our absolute best when we get the heck out of the way of the kindness of the community. There are many great things at Ronald McDonald House that we are very proud of, and every single one of them is an expression of the kindness of the community. We have plans on how we can achieve that resuming of normalcy in the future. We believe we have to stay connected to our families, so we started a Family Connect program, where any family staying with us has the option to stay connected through our weekly family newsletters that update you on stories of families, even when you go back to your community. We are developing a digital platform so that as we develop resources and learn more about other supports out there, that we can attach that back to our families. We can link those back to our families. We partner and align with AHS, hospitals, and foundations. We are speaking with the highest executives to be part of that landscape. We want to be on the hospital campuses supporting families, and the people at AHS and at the hospitals see value in that and want that as well. We want to partner with government. Recently, the President and CEO of RMHC Canada presented to the House of Commons. And a little over a year ago, Prime Minister Harper made the announcement that EI benefits would be extended for caregivers for families. And that was done at a Ronald McDonald House in Vancouver. We want to partner with home communities. That's a really important thing for us. Later this week, we're going to have our first Home for Dinner away from Ronald McDonald House here in Grand Prairie. It's going to have 130 people, former families that have stayed with us. We want to get them together. We want to be able to see how they're doing. We want to make sure that their stories are part of our story, and that their experiences are being shared, and that if they're having difficulties, that we can be a part of supporting them in, and we want to be able to do that. We've also just recently had some inroads in another development in Grand Prairie, and that is working with Rotary to possibly build a house here in Grand Prairie on the health campus of the new hospital. It's a very exciting prospect, one that we didn't anticipate to be so fully supported. We didn't anticipate coming into a community that was so ready to have that and was so aware of the need for families. And we're very grateful by that prospect. Today we met with hospital foundation representation, college foundation representation, and Rotary representation, which we're very excited about. Since 2011, over 350 families from Grand Prairie and Peace region have stayed at Ronald McDonald House. That's over 1,000 people. Last year, 855 families stayed at the house. That was 2,505 people. But we also put another 500 families in hotels. We have 32 suites. We have over 100 house volunteers, which are just regular volunteers that keep the day-to-day library, a fitness room, 3 kitchens, 2 new mother's rooms, which are private rooms for mothers to nurse and store their breast milk in freezers, use hospital-grade breast pumps to prepare for when their babies are prepared to eat. We have a child life program. We have an education program with a classroom and a certified teacher on staff. We have a family life program with field trips that go out every week. We have our Home for Dinner program, which I mentioned to you before. And in 2012, we had 287 volunteer groups come in and cook meals for our families and share those meals with them. There's over 1,500 people sharing meals with our families. We have a Help Yourself room, which is a room filled with fridges and freezers and pantry shelving, and everything in it is for families to help themselves. We have a quilt room. Every single child who checks into the house, sick or sibling, gets to choose any quilt they want. And every single quilt in this room has been handcrafted and donated by volunteers. We have one volunteer who over time has donated close to 1,100 quilts herself. We also have something called the Magic Room. The Magic Room is also for every single child, sick or sibling, to visit every single time they come to Ronald McDonald House. So if they're there every 2 weeks they get to go in. If it's their birthday, they get to go in. If they finished a medical milestone or a procedure, they get to go in. And they get to choose any toy they want. Every single toy in that has been donated by the community for them to choose from, and it has a wide range of toys from all ages. In the top right-hand corner of this slide, there's something called harmonica clap. The picture I used in there is of a little girl named Oksana. That was the first trip ever to the Magic Room. That was her traveling to the Magic Room the first time, pushing her little Fisher-Price shopping cart. And when she walked in there, we heard music to our ears. She fought for an hour and a half with her mom over which toy she wanted. And we heard things like, "You are so stubborn, why won't you listen to me?" On that scale of resuming normalcy, nothing is more normal than a child eventually not listening to their parent. And we could have listened to that for a longer time. Sure enough, the hour and a half was cut short because mom gave in and Oksana got the toy she wanted. She's now 3, but before the age of 2, she had 4 open heart surgeries, 2 heart transplants. And this little girl will walk through the hallways adamant about having fun. She loves music. Her dad plays the guitar very often. Her favorite instrument is the harmonica, and during many, many Home for Dinners, she's played harmonica clap, and everybody knows what the rules are. She plays the harmonica and we clap. It's one of those special things that we're there to celebrate those moments, and there's an encouragement that comes to the community and from the community in those moments. We also have another picture just below it, and it's to Jackson from Jackson. And in 2010, Jackson wanted to go home for Christmas. His parents were really eager to take him home, and they wanted to buy a Wolf Mountain playset. We didn't know what a Wolf Mountain playset was, but we Googled it, and it's a wolf head with a racetrack afterwards. And so we found out it's sold out of Walmart, sold out of Toys R Us, can't get it anywhere. So we decided to put our neck out and put it on Twitter. And so we tweeted it. And sure enough, it was picked up in New Zealand by a fellow by the name of Jackson Hall, Jaxin as well. He was in the Chronicles of Narnia. He's a clothing designer, and he has a rock band. So he tweeted it out to his network. And our Jackson, ended up going to his doctor's appointment on December 20th to see if he was going to get cleared to go home for Christmas. And he was cleared. And so on December 22nd, when he was getting ready to go, this package arrived. And it said, "To Jackson from Jackson." And the very bottom is the actual package. And in it was a Wolf Mountain playset, a bunch of rolled up t-shirts, and a whole bunch of cards wishing him well and success in his future. As I said earlier, every moment of every family's life matters, but it takes a community to make that happen. It takes the community where families are from. It takes a community where they're receiving treatment. It takes a community of caring individuals who want to make a difference. It takes a group of people who want to come in and discover the best in themselves as they serve. It takes a community at large. Sometimes it takes somebody from New Zealand to be called to action and make a difference. And we're very grateful for this opportunity to present to all of you. At this stage, we'd just like to say thank you. And if you have any questions, feel free.
Great. Thanks Thanks very much for the presentation. You have a pretty good ambassador there up front in the video. Any questions for the delegation? We don't. Oh, I see Councillor Radber.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. You mentioned something about a breakfast or something coming up? Or, yeah, so do you want to speak about that a bit? Or a dinner, yeah?
On Friday evening, we have invited the majority of our past clients, past families that have stayed with us, to come out and join us out in Webster for a dinner that we're putting on for families that have used the house.
Thanks very much. Any further questions, comments for the delegation? I don't see anybody else in the queue. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor Radburn.
Thank you. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for the service you provide. So you're looking at a papa who had a granddaughter who had a heart transplant at the age of 6 months. And so Ronald McDonald House in Strawberry are near and dear to this family's heart. So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you since you're here in person. Thank you very much.
Anything else for the delegation? I don't think I see anybody else in the queue right now. Thanks very much for all the work that you do in supporting families from the Grand Prairie region, and it's fantastic news to hear that you're in discussions with locals about an opportunity for Ronald McDonald House in the Grand Prairie area with the development of the new regional hospital. That's fantastic news. Thanks very much for coming to see us again.
Thank you.
So this is still the delegation portion of the agenda and an opportunity for anybody to come forward and address council on any community-related matter that isn't the subject of a public hearing. So if there's anybody else in attendance that would like to address council on any other community-related matter that isn't the subject of a public hearing, that'll come up a little bit later on. I don't see anybody coming forward, and so we'll close the delegation portion of our agenda, and we'll move on to public hearings. And item 6.1, which is Bylaw C-1290 to adopt the new Meadowview Area Structure Plan. I'd call this public hearing to order and look for an introduction from Mr. Welton. Dan.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is to give bylaw C-1290 second and third readings. Administration received an application from Focus Corporation to amend the Meadowview Area Structure Plan to include the northwest quarter of Section 20. The Meadowview Area Structure Plan currently covers all 4 quarter sections in Section 19. The blue area is the area that would be covered by the Meadowview Area Structure Plan, including the amendment, and the circled area is the area that essentially is the subject of the amendment. The area is currently located in the county. It is located within the short-term annexation area and is identified in the intermunicipal development plan, and it is part of the area that the city has applied to the Municipal Government Board to annex. The Meadowview Area Structure Plan includes a mix of developed and undeveloped lands. The plan area includes Cobblestone and Cobblestone East, a portion of the Riverstone neighborhood, the future Brookfield neighborhood, which is currently undeveloped but is undergoing some servicing this year, and a quarter section of land that's currently located in the county, which consists of 2 mobile home parks. Due to the extent of the amendments that would be required to incorporate this quarter section into the area structure plan, the approach administration is pursuing is to repeal the existing Meadowview Area Structure Plan and replace it with a new area structure plan which integrates the subject land into the ASP. The Municipal Government Act requires council to hold a public hearing. Advertising was completed in accordance with the requirements of the Act, and as of I guess today, we did not receive any responses or concerns. The subject land is located in the northwest quarter, Section 20. It's approximately 64 hectares in area and is bounded by 100th Avenue to the north, 84th Street to the west, and by agricultural land to the south and east. The area is, as I mentioned earlier, currently in the county of Grand Prairie. The intermunicipal development plan identifies this as the short-term annexation area and identifies this as future residential land. And as part of the application review process, the county of Grand Prairie was circulated, and they had no concerns with this proceeding. The development concept, I'm going to scroll actually. The development concept for the subject land includes a mix of commercial, multifamily, and single-family residential. Residential uses make up the majority of the land area at 66%. Commercial uses account for 9%, which is 6.1 hectares, with the remainder of the subject land comprising parks, roadways, and a school site. The population for the land shows the area as being approximately 2,300 residents in a mix of apartments, single-family housing, and townhouse development. And at 2,300 people, that is the approximate amount of residential that we find in a typical quarter section. And I guess something else to mention is that the mix of single-family to multifamily is about 50-50. The minimum that we try and strive for in these particular areas is we try and get at least 25% multifamily, and in this case they're proposing approximately 50% multifamily. The area structure plan identifies the general servicing concepts for water, sanitary, transportation, storm management, etc. No constraints have been identified at this stage. Further details will be provided as the development process continues. The next phase of that would be the adoption of an outline plan for this particular quarter section. I certainly don't see that happening until that area comes into the city. The area structure plan is a high-level planning document in the process. It provides generalized details on the proposed development concept in terms of land use and servicing. Prior to subdivision, the applicant or the owner will be required to submit and have approved a outline plan and design reports for all of the major services and utilities. And council will be required to adopt an outline plan and amend the land use bylaw at some future stage prior to development occurring. So in summary, administration has received this application to amend the area structure plan to include the northwest quarter of section 20 in accordance with the development concept that you see before you. As I said before, we felt that the best approach at this stage, given the complexity of an amendment to the existing area structure plan, was to accommodate this quarter section within an area structure plan and then repeal the entire one and then adopt a new one which takes this one into account. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Welton. So this is the presentation submission portion of the public hearing. So an opportunity for anybody who would like to make a presentation in favor of the proposed area structure plan. If there's anybody who'd like to make a presentation in favor or in support of the proposed area structure plan, now would be the time to come forward. I don't see anybody. If there's anybody who would like to come forward to make a presentation or submission in opposition to the proposed area structure plan, and again, I don't see anybody coming forward. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this area structure plan? I don't see anybody coming forward. Council members, are there any questions for administration before we close the public hearing? Don't see anybody ringing in, and so I'll close the public hearing and we move on to business arising. And we'll look for some motions on the recommendations. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'll move that second reading be given to bylaw C-1290 to adopt the new Meadowview area structure plan.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. Motion carries. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you. I'll move that third reading be given to bylaw C-1290 to adopt the new Meadowview area structure plan.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Any discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries as well. That handles all that business from that public hearing, and we move on to item 6.2, bylaw C-1279A, an amendment to the O'Brien Lake West Outline Plan. I call this public hearing to order and look for an introduction from administration. Mr. Welton, again.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is to give bylaw C-1279, which is an amendment to the O'Brien Lake West Outline Plan, second and third readings. Engineering Services has requested an amendment to map 7 of the O'Brien Lake West Outline Plan to change the name of 2 roads within the plan area. The amendment would rename 114th Street as Tamarack Drive and a portion of 60th Avenue as Cypress Way. Proposed name changes are intended to facilitate clear home addressing and road signage. The revised map 7 also clarifies that the cul-de-sac opposite, that the cul-de-sac opposite 113th Street is also named 113th Street. Figure 7 of the O'Brien Lake West outline plan shows the road names for the area. The area is undeveloped and therefore no residents will be affected by the proposed change. The street and avenue naming system works well with the grid and modified grid layouts as typical across North America. The city has attempted to maintain this naming system as much as possible. Where curved collector roads exist, as they do in several neighborhoods, the transition from a north-south to an east-west orientation can create confusing street and avenue numbering. In such cases, road names are typically given. In O'Brien Lake West, the main collector road runs through the neighborhood north-south from 68th Avenue and then makes a 90-degree turn and connects to 60th Avenue in the O'Brien Lake neighborhood. The outline plan names the north-south portion 114th Street from 68th Avenue to the intersection with 113th Street. I don't know if you can see the cursor on here, but 114th Street, the name starts here and ends down here at 113th, and then it transitions into 60th Avenue across here. In O'Brien Lake, the concerns that have been expressed with the existing road names are that 60th Avenue transitions to 114th Street. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, this is going crazy on me. The concerns with this area is that the 60th Avenue transitions to 114th Street without any physical change in the road. And a vehicle traveling west on 60th Avenue would need to make a left turn to remain on 60th Avenue. Both are considered likely to create confusion for drivers, including delivery and other services such as EMS. By naming the collector road that runs through the neighborhood Tamarack Drive, road signs can be installed at the intersections of both 68th Avenue and 108th Street to that effect. The name changes are also intended to avoid any confusion created by having 69th Avenue intersects with 59th Avenue intersects with 60th Avenue and 113th Street intersect with 114th Street. These changes only apply in the O'Brien Lake West area. The servicing of the lots in this area have only commenced this summer and therefore no house construction has commenced. Therefore, the proposed changes are not expected to affect any homeowners in the O'Brien Lake area. The proposal to give these roads the names of trees is consistent with the use of Popular Drive in Patterson and Willow Drive in the Cobblestone Creekside area. Engineering Services is preparing a road naming policy and procedure for review and adoption by council. We did advertise this proposed amendment and we did not receive any comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I will also indicate that Mrs. Donnelly might be able to answer some of the questions that you have, if I can. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Welton. I'll open the presentation submission portion of the public hearing. I would ask if there's anybody that would like to come forward to speak in support of the recommendation for renaming. Again, if there's anybody here to speak in favor of the recommendation for renaming. I don't see anybody rushing to the microphone, so I'll ask if there's anybody here to speak in opposition. And again, I don't see anybody making, not even a twitch out there in the audience. So is there anybody that'd like to speak to this issue? I see nobody. Are there any questions for administration, council, before I close the public hearing? Councillor Wong.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. Question to administration. Is there a reason why Tamarack Drive just wouldn't continue all the way till you exit O'Brien Lake? Seems like if you're looking for consistency throughout, having a change, whether it's numbered or number to name, is equally as confusing.
Mr. Welton?
Through the Mayor, the main reason why we were not proposing that is that there are a large number of property owners who live on 60th Avenue, and it was our intention not to affect them. And, you know, I mean, if we change their address, we would be required to support them changing all their utility bills and their mail, and et cetera. And so our intention was not to affect the property owners in that way. What we are proposing, I think, instead is that at the entrance to Pinnacle, or not Pinnacle, to O'Brien on 108th, at that intersection, the intention is to put up signs that say both 60th Avenue and Tamarack Drive, and therefore people will know that that is the place to turn into to either get to 60th Avenue or Tamarack, And the intention is to put a similar sign on 68th Avenue so that people, if they're looking for either address, can enter the neighborhood at either location and assist them in finding their destination. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Monroe?
Thanks, Mayor Given. I think I had similar concerns to what Councillor Wong just brought up, but I guess on top of that, is there not already a Tamarack Drive in Taylor Estates just out on the county?
Someone from administration speak to that? Mr. Weldon?
I am not familiar with that, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Monroe?
I'm under the impression there is. I don't have access to find it here right now, and I'm wondering if maybe it might not be a bad idea to double check on that. Or perhaps Councillor Crokin, are you able to?
Councillor Crokin, if you want to turn your microphone on.
Thanks, Councilman Monroe. I've heard it also, but I couldn't put my finger on it right now.
Okay. Any other questions for administration before we close the public hearing? Before we do then, on that point, are there any other situations where there's a County of Grand Prairie address that has a similar number to a City of Grand Prairie address?
Not that I am aware of. If you're requesting us to look into it, we certainly can, but I'm not aware of any of them off the top of my head. Thank you.
Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Yes, there is. There's 84th Avenue. It comes up in the county, and there has been parts delivered to 84th Avenue, Grand Prairie, when it should have went to the county industrial park.
So, but there are existing. That's a good example of an existing situation. Okay. Councillor Wong.
I just pulled it up on Google Maps, Mayor Given. There's a Tamarack Trail and a Tamarack Close, but no Tamarack Drive.
Good Googling, Councillor Wong. Good Googling. Okay, so if there were no other questions for administration, then we'll close the public hearing and we would move on to business arising and we'll look for a motion for second reading. We'll look for a motion for second reading, Council. Councillor Wong.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move that bylaw C 1279A, being an amendment to the O'Brien Lake West Outline Plan, be given second reading.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I am concerned about the name and the confusion that might create, and I would certainly prefer that we look at a different name for this road. I would also prefer to ideally see it carried through. However, I can understand the logistical problem that might cause if we already have residents there. So quite honestly, I think it would almost be better just to keep it as 114th Street.
Okay, so discussion, debate. Any further discussion or debate? Seeing nobody else in the queue, I'll say that I'll vote in support of second reading. I think that this is an appropriate way to deal with the issue. Appreciate Councillor Wong finding out that there is no actual Tamarack Drive. And I think that the fact that one of them was actually located in the City of Grand Prairie in terms of that address and the other Tamaracks are in the County of Grand Prairie is reasonable. I think that this is a reasonably sensitive way to deal with road naming. I know there's sort of been a reaction from the city after Pinnacle to avoid road names at all costs, but I think when we get a transition like this, I think that this is a logical way to deal with it, so I support the recommendation. Any further discussion or debate? Seeing nobody else in the queue, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. And I believe that vote carries with one opposed. And I would look for a motion for third reading. Councillor Wong.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Given. I'll move third reading of bylaw C 1279A.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries as well. And I believe that finishes all the business for that public hearing. We'd move on in our agenda. We had no unfinished business. We do have one item under reports, sorry, two items under reports. The first being a recommendation on the collective agreement with the Grand Prairie Firefighters Association. I'd note that we have our fire chief here, Mr. Lemieux, Chief Lemieux, if you'd like to come and introduce this item and maybe recognize the members of the union local that are in attendance as well. Chief Lemieux.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we do have members of the IFF Grand Prairie Firefighter Association with us, Chris Storshaw, Dan McLean, Todd Russell, and Ian McDonald. So thank them for their attendance today. So I'd just like to say a few comments about this particular report. I know you all have the report in front of you. So the city's negotiating team and the Grand Prairie Firefighter Association have concluded negotiations of a new tentative collective agreement. The parties have reached a tentative deal that's in front of you here today. So we are seeking City Council's approval for a 3-year deal. This is the second freely negotiated deal with the IFF in over the last 10-year period. Which is a little different than what your report says. There actually have been 2 deals. The first one in 2007 to 2009 was a deal that was negotiated with the help of a mediator. And then this one was negotiated for a tentative 3-year deal, freely negotiated without the assistance of a mediator. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Gary Roth, who's our Community Living Director, who led the city's negotiating team. And then President Todd Russell led the IFF's team. And the 2 teams worked extremely well together. Most of the non-monetary items were dealt with in a couple of days. They were dealt with very quickly. Monetary items took a little bit longer, but we were able to strike a tentative agreement. The current contract has expired on December 31st, 2011, so we are behind somewhat, but this will help us catch up. And the proposed deal takes us to 2014. Just briefly, some of the significant non-monetary items that were agreed to include revised job descriptions, a letter of understanding to look at a competency-based promotional process, a letter of understanding to look at an attendance management system, and then the tentative agreement on monetary issues calls for a wage increase of 3.95% in 2012, 3.95% in 2013, and 3.55638% in 2014. So this tentative deal was ratified by the association at a special meeting on July the 18th. And so we are recommending that City Council approve this tentative agreement, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks very much, Chief Lemieux. Any questions for Chief Lemieux? Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Chief Dan, where does that put us relative to comparative wage settlements or pay scales for other firefighters in our fair province?
So we have traditionally had 6 comparators, and they are Medicine Hat Fire, Red Deer Fire Department, Lethbridge, Strathcona, and St. Albert. And some of them have not negotiated deals for 2011, 12, and so on. But for the ones that have settled, we are very, very close to the comparators, a little bit below some of the other comparators until 2014. There's only one other municipality that has settled for 2014, and that is St. Albert. And this agreement puts us on even par, dollar for dollar, with where St. Albert Fire is.
Thank you. Mayor Given, while I have the floor, can I just ask Mr. Anderson how that affects our budget?
Mr. Anderson?
These numbers.
Mr. Mayor, we do have a contingency, and it's within the contingency, so it's been accommodated in our business plans.
Thank you.
Okay, I see Councillor Cogan.
Thanks, Mayor Given. And thanks again for the hard work over the last 3 years. But the one figure there, just could you explain it to me just a little bit, that 3.55638? I'm a 3.5 kind of guy, but
Yes, that number looks a little bit strange because we give you 5 decimal points, but the reason for that is we wanted to match St. Albert's salary dollar for dollar, and so in order to get there, that's why that number looks a little different.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dan.
The Councillor O'Toole.
Thanks very much, Mayor Given. Dan, can you please tell me how many firefighters we have and how this will affect them? Like, how many staff we have that the union?
So we have approximately, I'm going to say 85 members of the association. If you're asking me specifically about the fire suppression, we have 68 in fire suppression branch.
Okay, any further questions? Councillor Radbourne.
Quick comment. I think that I'm pleased that, first of all, I'm pleased that we were able to reach an agreement without arbitration. I think that's very positive on both sides. Secondly, I'm pleased that we're looking at things like competency-based promotions. I think that's being progressive on both sides. So my kudos to the groups for looking at those kinds of things, not just the money. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radbourne. Any further questions for administration? If not, I would look for a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Radbourne.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move that Council approve the new collective agreement with the Grand Prairie Firefighter Association, Local 2770 of the International Association of Firefighters for a 3-year term from January 1st, 2012 through December 31st, 2014, including general wages increases of 3.95 in 2012, 3.95 in 2013, and 3.55638 in 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Discussion and debate on the motion? Councillor Wong.
Sure, thank you, Mayor Given. I think that both sides have come up with a very reasonable negotiation position, and it's definitely supportive of the recommendation. Just did a quick calculation on the cumulative figure, and that falls right in line with what we have given the rest of our staff at the city for increases over the next 3 years. So very good work for you, Chief Lemieux, and for Gary Roth, and for the Firefighters Association. Great job.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any other discussion or debate? I just want to say again, congratulations to the negotiating team. Certainly appreciate it. This is the first time in my memory, and maybe I'm misremembering, but it's the first time in my memory where we've been a year ahead in terms of having a negotiated agreement in place, rather than always negotiating for years that had already passed. And so I really appreciate that, and appreciate the fantastic, that is a demonstration of the great working relationship that we have within our fire department right now between management and staff. And so I just want to recognize that. I think that speaks volumes about the way we do business at the City of Grand Prairie and the leadership of the fire department. So, any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And we'd move on to item 8.2, Bylaw C 1100-199, a land use bylaw amendment. If we can have a brief introduction from administration. Mr. Wellen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is to give land use bylaw amendment C 1100-199, which is an amendment to land use bylaw, first reading, and established Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. in council chambers as the date, time, and location for the public hearing. Bear Stolingers Ketchum, on behalf of the landowner, has submitted an application to amend the land use bylaw to change the designation of Lot 2, Block 3, Plan 062-1904, which is 10128 128th Avenue, from CT Commercial Transition to CA Arterial Commercial. Public notification of the proposed amendment will be undertaken as required. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks very much, Mr. Welton. So we need a motion for first reading. Councillor Wong.
I guess I will declare a conflict since that's the firm I work for.
Thanks very much. So Councillor Wong gives us the opportunity to test my new conflict of interest button. And so Councillor Wong declares a conflict of interest and has left the council chambers. Button on. Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I'll move that first reading be given to bylaw C 1100-199, being an amendment to the land use bylaw.
Thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. No discussion or debate on first reading. I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Monroe.
I'll move that Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. at City Council Chambers be established as the date, time, and location for the public hearing of bylaw C 1100-199.
Thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. Any discussion or debate as to date, time, and location for this public hearing? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion also carries. Conflict of interest button off. Councillor Wong can. Hey, there. We didn't even have to send anybody out to find them, as we used to have to do with our old system. Thanks very much. And that would take us into committee business. Starting with item 9.1, Community Growth Committee from July 9th. Councillor Radburn, I think you're going to handle that one.
Thank you, McGibbon. Move council receive the minutes. Receive the minutes of the Community Growth Committee meeting held July 9th, 2013.
Thank you very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Did we notice anything out of order, out of place? All the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Seeing nobody ringing in, then we will move on to the vote. Looking for one more vote, Council. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, McGibbon. I would move that council approve the appointment of Councillor Kevin O'Toole to the Peace Airshed Zone Association Board of Directors. I might just speak briefly to the motion, McGibbon. PAZA is a looks at air quality monitoring in the Grand Prairie area. We have not been a member of this group. The group approached us and basically said, we would like to have you participate in the group. We're waiving the membership fee because the original, the city membership contribution is covered by the province through the Henry Perker commitment or contract. So many years ago, but anyway, the board of directors has seen fit that they want us involved, and to get us involved, they are not requiring us to pay a membership fee.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Is that just for the first year that there would be no membership fee, or is that kind of an ongoing thing, Councillor Radburn?
Boy, good question. I think it was, we assumed it was ongoing basis because the contract, the Henry Perker contract goes on in perpetuity.
Thank you. Councillor Croker.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Councillor Radburn, is there any monitoring stations in the city of Grand Prairie?
Councillor Radburn.
There are, Michelle, 3.
Ms. Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor Given. The Henry Perker Station is located in Muskosipi Park along the spillway, and it has been there for several years. They anticipate keeping it there. That is the only monitoring station in the city. The other one is located in Evergreen Park.
Thanks very much, Ms. Gardner. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing no one ringing in, then I will call for the vote. That motion carries. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd move council accept for information the results of the 2013 Citizen Satisfaction Survey and direct administration to follow up on findings. We've done this, or the city does this satisfaction survey every 2 years. So our last one was in 2011. The 2013 results. I think I'll take a couple minutes just to highlight some of the findings for our viewing audience. First of all, There were considerable positive gains since 2011, generally. There certainly remains opportunities for improvement, but overall the city's performance was strong. Perceptions about the quality of life in Grande Prairie remain strong, as does community pride. The local economic outlook is on the upturn. Significant increases are observed on a number of performance ratings, including customer service. Perceived value for property taxes moving in the right direction. The city's snow removal performance and the opening of the East Lake Centre are key positives. Infrastructure and land use and planning are two issues that warrant attention. It gives you just a few of the highlights. In terms of follow-up on findings, a couple things are happening. First of all, the consultants are coming back to do some focus group work with our community, to kind of delve deeper into the details and the whys of certain results. And so we're looking forward to that later in this month, I believe. Secondly, Mr. Ollinger meets with department managers. Managers look at the results and look for targeted improvement areas and measures so they can identify and track progress with respect to those areas that need improvement and those measures. So that's kind of in a synopsis is the follow-up on the findings. And then David also does report back to committee probably once a year or so to look at how we're doing relative to those targets. Thank you, Mayor Gibb.
Thanks. Excuse me. Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing nothing, then I will call for the vote on the motion to receive the Citizen Satisfaction Survey results for information. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radbourne.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. The results just came up now. So finally, I move council support the Upper Peace Region position paper. Michelle presented this report to committee. The Mackenzie Municipal Service Agency, received a regional collaboration grant from the province to undertake the development of a position paper that really talks about land use framework for the Upper Peace region. So that's what we're supporting, so they can submit it to the province. But also, administration has committed that they will bring forward a position paper from just the city ourselves alone. So I think that's a good complement to this Upper Peace. We will be able to look at any specifics that are important to the city of Grande Prairie in addition to supporting this more regional position paper. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Questions or comments? Seeing nobody ringing in, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Radbourne, anything else you want to highlight from that set of minutes?
Three things, Mayor Gibbon. Thank you very much. First of all, we did, as those who attend the committee meeting this morning were made aware of, in terms of our comparative study of urban-rural development costs, we did receive a body of that report previously, and we've asked administration to look at the implications and how we can react to those results to be even more competitive. So we're looking forward to that, probably with a new council. But also, I believe it was Councillor Monroe came to a committee meeting and suggested we should be looking at other things. And so we've included this additional work to be done by the consultant. And that is to look at off-site levies, connection fees with respect to equitarian securities and letters of credit information. So that will be coming to us within the month, and we'll have that data to look at so that we can assess and strategically look at how we can become more competitive. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor
And
Radbourne.
secondly, with the lot grading, we did have we asked administration to continue working with our community partners to look at their concerns with respect to specifics of the lot grading bylaw. And we did receive the Crystal Centre Economic Impact and Traffic Assessment Report, where they were suggesting that we should need to get outside help to a tune of $92,000 to get that information. Committee chose to table that cost and that initiative to the 2014 budget review. And also we've asked and suggested that the new council have a committee of the whole meeting prior to budget, after the election, to look at other options relative to phasing or other options to, I guess, support improving that facility. Thank you, Mayor Given.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. You're actually done this time before I cut you off. Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. We'd move on to item 9.2, the Community Living Committee from July 9th. Councillor Crokin, can you handle that set of minutes for us?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Given. I move council receive the minutes of the Community Living Committee meeting held July 9th, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Looks like everything is in place, so I will call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I move council support the Wapiti Corridor multi-use plan, and further that Mayor Given send a letter of support to the Wapiti Corridor Planning Society. And just to speak to that, I wasn't the chair of the committee this meeting, but we have talked about that previously. This is not a budgetary item. This is land south of the city, east and west of us. It's in the MD and the county. It's a 50-year vision for the Wapiti River Valley, and I'm in support of that vision for all citizens to use in the region.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, then I will call for the vote. That motion carries as well. Councillor Crokin, before we move on, I just want to recognize Councillor Wong. He's been council's representative on the Wapiti Corridor Planning Committee since the start of the City of Grand Prairie's involvement. Councillor Wong, thanks very much for your work on that group, and fantastic to see the document finally adopted and accepted by the partners, and certainly appreciate your contribution to this important regional planning document. Thanks very much. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks for that, Mayor Given. I move council amend policy 605 to add clauses 5.1 as follows. 5.1, boulevard use permits will be approved for the placement of advertisement onto a city boulevard for an election sign in limited areas as designated by council. That is in the policy. It's at quite length if somebody's interested to bring it up on the site and read it. But this is to show a difference between our commercial events, fundraising, and public notification, and also for election signs that they can be placed 6 weeks before the election date of October 21st.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. So just for clarification, this doesn't have anything to do, this is really an item of clarification that was raised after council made the changes to the sign bylaw. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing nobody ringing in, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Crokin, was there anything else that you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yeah, thanks for giving me. Yeah, there was a couple of things. The acting maintenance manager, again, we are still awaiting a report from administration on the Bear Creek pool facility. So that'll be coming at a further committee meeting. And I'd also like to say, again, a big thank you to the Elks and their spray park. The hot weather that we've been having, there's been a number of gallons of water being sprayed on our lovely children and 10 teenagers. So thanks again to the Elks, and that was about it from the committee.
Okay. Councillor Crokin, we move on to Community Safety Committee from July 16th. Councillor Wong, I believe that was your committee.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move that council receive the minutes of the Community Safety Committee meeting held July 16th, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Everything looked like it accurately reflects what happened at the meeting. Seeing nobody ringing in, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Wong, was there anything you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
Just mention the 4 pieces of business that we took care of. We had administration bring forward a preliminary report on the minimum property standards bylaw, which will come back to committee in the form of a draft bylaw with some of the comments that council had given to them. So the public will have an opportunity to provide some input on that as well and feedback once we get that formatted properly. We had 2 reports about accessible taxis, one from the Disabled Transportation Society, who just gave us an update on the taxi that they purchased. It was the old City of Grand Prairie accessible taxi. Unfortunately, it isn't in great shape right now, and DTS has been using it to provide some after-hours service to people who need that kind of spontaneous access. Unfortunately, they don't see that being a long-term solution. It's just very expensive for them to operate, and at this point, it's costing them money to make that work. The other half of the accessible taxi report came from administration. They're going to be working with the taxi industry to try to make sure that private businesses are going to be able to offer that kind of service and incorporate it into their daily operations. So we're hopeful that that's possible. And a report will come back once they've had a chance to discuss the concepts with the taxi industry. And finally, the last piece of business was the animal and responsible pet ownership bylaw. That went out for public consultation, and admin is now going to be incorporating that public input in and getting that formatted again, which will come back to a future committee meeting and then to council for approval.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. We'll move on to 9.4, the special Community Growth Committee meeting. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'll move that council receive the minutes of the Special Community Growth Committee meeting held July 22nd, 2013.
Thanks, Councillor Gustafson. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Seeing nobody ringing in, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Gustafson, anything you'd like to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yes, this was a special meeting for an application for a single detached dwelling with a secondary suite in the College Park area redevelopment plan.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. I believe that handles all of our committee business. We had no items of correspondence tonight. We did have one delegation from Ronald McDonald House, and so I wonder if we could have a motion to receive that presentation for information. Councillor Gustafson.
Given, I'll proudly receive that presentation for administration today, information today.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing nobody ringing in, I will call for the vote. And that motion carries. We had no notices of motion, and we had one council member report that Councillor O'Toole let me know in advance that he has a report for the Philip J. Curry Dinosaur Museum. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I attended the building committee meeting held a week or so ago out at the job site in Wembley. And if you happen to be driving down the highway towards Dawson Creek, there is a crane on the side of the road. I can tell you that all the pilings, cement has been poured, and now they're working on the structure. So she's good to go. There's 25 men working now. Most of them are from Edmonton. And by the end of this month, there will be 50 men, and most of them will be from the Grand Prairie area.
Great. Thanks very much. Great to see that many people on site working and the crane up. It'll be fantastic development for the Peace region. I don't believe we had any other council member agency agencies, boards, and commission reports. So we'll start with Council Roundtable, and we'll start with Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Besides lots of holidays over the course of the last month, I did take a moment to meet with MLA Jason Hale, who is the energy critic, and I think there was a number of us there, but we had a good meeting with him and made him aware of the issues affecting Grand Prairie. Also went to the launch of the new GP Tourism touchscreens at the airport, and these are information kiosks that are quite user-friendly, quite neat. They've got a lot of maps, so if you're new to Grand Prairie or coming through visiting on business or what have you, it's a nice, neat little kiosk to go and scope out various places in town, such as hotels or mapping, restaurants, etc. Briefly popped into the Driving Force grand opening, and for those of you that are not aware, the Driving Force just opened up a branch here in town, and it's on, I believe it's 115th and 100th Street. Nice little facility there. Good to see them, and it's always great when we have new businesses open up in town. I met briefly with engineering staff last week, and some concerned residents in regards to 124th Ave, and it looks like things are coming along there fairly well. And then other than that, hosted the council barbecue a couple of weeks ago, and all of council came out, as you guys are all well aware, and I think we had a fun time. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. On July 17th, I attended the City-County Joint Recreation meeting, and then later that night to the Street Performers Gala, which was another great success. On the 18th, I brought greetings on behalf of Mayor Given and Council to the 81st, I believe it was, Elks Convention. There was over 400 participants in the great city of Grand Prairie. On the 19th, I attended the barbecue at Grand Prairie Regional College, the Reading University, the graduation ceremonies of 93 young, energetic, talented young people. That was just terrific. On the 20th, I attended the East Coast Garden Party. It was a little wet in more ways than one. It was really good. On the 22nd, I also attended with Majority Council to Jason Hale, the Wild Rose Energy Critic. On the 26th, I opened a tender, or to the 29th. Thanks again to Councillor Justin Monroe. We had an extremely good time at your hosting the barbecue, and those pellets of smoke were an extra little add to the barbecue. That was excellent. Thank you. On the 30th, I was also the opening of the Driving Force, and for anybody there that there's probably not as many people as old as I am, but Al Hamilton, former Edmonton Oiler, was there at the opening. He's their PR guy, and what a great guy. He didn't give me an elbow or anything. He was just a really nice guy. On the 2nd, I was at a meeting with the concerned ratepayers over unfinished project that was previously mentioned. And later that day, opened a tender. And later that night, I attended Randy Travis concert. The reason I'm mentioning that is during the concert was over 2 hours. He mentioned Grand Prairie at least 5 times, and he had a video taken of the city of Grand Prairie, and he was so excited, and he kept saying I'm so excited to be in the city of Grand Prairie, and he really wasn't in Grand Prairie, he was in the county. But there was over 8,000 people there. A lot of them from out of town, but a lot of them from the county. And 4 of our firemen, and they left here. They made a cameo appearance in the show that was taken of all of City of Grand Prairie. They got it in the college. And he'll be playing that right across the country. So what a great economic development piece of television work that'll be. That was everything.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I was able to go to a Downtown Association emergency meeting, and other than that, I've been on holiday, so thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Councillor Wong.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Gibbon. July 19th, I attended the Reading University graduation. That seems to be a wildly successful program for grade 3 students, just to help them enhance their reading skills. I wanted to give a shout out to Rhonda and Linda Syed, the two ladies who have not only made this program happen, but this was their brainchild, and they have such a passion for it. I also got a chance to sit with the O'Toole family, and little Haley, who was part of the program last year. She made a comment that it should be for kids of all ages because she wants to attend over and over again. I think that's great news to hear that the kids have so much fun participating in a program like that. Also, later that Friday, I came to City Hall for a tender opening. I also attended the meeting with MLA Jason Hale, the energy critic for the provincial government. I attended the GP Tourism touchscreen kiosk at the airport. I think that it's a fantastic little device. I was back at the airport again just on Monday and got a chance to play with it a little bit more. I think we need a lot more of those kind of devices around the city. It really just makes us look like more of a modern city, and I think that people appreciate the fact that they can provide their own get their own self-serve information. Thursday, July 25th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Mixer at the Grand Prairie Golf Country Club. Monday the 29th, I just wanted to thank Councillor Monroe for hosting the social for council. It was excellent. We had a really great time. We had a chance to also meet the new Community Safety Director, Horacio, who told us about his trip up Mount Everest, yes. I don't know why I drew a blank there. He flew the City of Grand Prairie flag up there while he was there, so he has some pictures with that. And he also took part in the death race last weekend. And I look forward to hearing how he made out there. He was trying to solo the 125 kilometers, and I heard the weather was just really atrocious. Thursday, August 1st, I attended the National Native Fastball Championships meet and greet at the Great Northern Casino. I also had a chance to drop in on the event over the weekend. It looked like they had some pretty decent turnout there. Very busy place. And I want to congratulate all the organizers and city staff for participating in that. That's everything.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. July 11th, I attended the Grand Prairie Regional Tourism Association Board meeting. The 17th, I attended the City County Recreation Committee meeting. One of the things from that meeting that we're looking at is doing a regional recreation assessment, which I think would be a positive initiative, and so that we start looking at things more regionally, both programs and in infrastructure. Jason Hale, Wild Rose MLA Energy Critic, GPRT kiosk touchscreen at the airport on the 24th. 25th, Grand Spirit Foundation Labor Management meeting. And then the afternoon, we spent the afternoon doing a gap analysis for the Grand Prairie Regional Tourism Association to develop our strategic priorities for that organization for the next 3 years. Thank you also to the Monroes for hosting us on the 29th. Attended the ribbon cutting for the Driving Force official opening. And August 1st, sponsor meet and greet for the Canadian Native Fastball Championships. Then was able to attend the tournament on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I also want to thank, it was a very successful tournament. I want to thank the organizing committee, the sponsors, and the volunteers for making it happen. And in particular, a shout out to Kirsten Marr, our staff member, who was a tireless worker on the organizing committee, and several times other committee members would mention Kirsten and her excellent work on that project. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gibbon. Attended lots of stuff. I'll just highlight a few. On the 15th, I attended the Elks Royal Purple National Convention, and I got to tell you, there was people from every province and territory represented in Grand Prairie. Lots of people. On the 17th, I attended the Joint City County Recreation Board, and like was mentioned earlier, there's looking at new ways to find, or new inventory assessment of what we have for recreational projects and buildings and stuff like that. The 18th, I attended the Curry Museum Building Committee meeting, and on the 19th, I attended the Reading University graduation. I also attended the weigh-in for the mixed martial arts event that was held on the 20th, and I also attended the street performers. Attended the street performers pretty much all weekend, and hats off, the weather was good. There's a few times where it got a little wet, but cooled people off. On the 20th, the MMA event went off really well. The 22nd, I met with Jason Hale, the MLA energy critic, which was mentioned by numerous council members. And on the 30th, I attended the Driving Force grand opening. And on the 31st, I attended the weekend of the 31st. I attended the Native Fastball Tournament. And once again, there was teams from all over this country represented. And I got to sit in the stands and talk to lots of people. And once again, I'd like to thank Kirsten Meyer for doing such an excellent job, and the rest of the city that was involved in this, the sponsors and the organizers. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. On July 10th, I had the honor of attending 2 citizenship ceremonies where nearly 200 new Canadians were sworn in. It was great to see all these people choosing to make Canada their home, and many of them choosing to make Grand Prairie their home. On the 11th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce morning mixer at the Pomeroy Hotel, and later that day I had an opportunity to meet with representatives from Target who were here to make an introduction as they have opened up in the community. On the 16th, I had a number of meetings and events with the Minister of Culture, Heather Klimchuk, who is in the city of Grand Prairie, and was at the Grand Prairie Tennis Club's courts, where she presented a check for $75,000 towards their tennis club renovations. On the 17th, I attended an open house at the Alberta Energy Regulator. Many of us, I would guarantee just about all of us, have driven past the office, which is near Costco. It is the old ERCB office. The provincial government has consolidated a number of functions under one energy regulator, and great to see that it has a strong presence in Grand Prairie. Also on the 17th, I was part of the joint City-County Recreation Committee meeting, and later that evening I attended the Street Fest Frolic. I'd like to recognize co-chairs Wayne Ailing and Clyde Blackburn for all their work in making this a hugely successful annual event in the community. It really is one of the community's signature events, I think, that people look forward to every year, and it just continues to grow, so thank you very much to those two. On the 18th, I was here with Councillor O'Toole as we presented on behalf of Council a gigantic oversized novelty check to the Curry Museum that recognized the City of Grand Prairie's previously committed dollars up to 2013, and then we also afterwards gave them a small check that they could actually use. On the 19th, I was with a number of other members of Council at the Reading University, and my congratulations again to the Side Sisters who've done a fantastic job there. On the 20th, I was in attendance at the East Coast Garden Party. I would like to recognize organizer Justin, who does a fantastic job of bringing this event, and it's great to see that the success of his event in Grand Prairie has enabled him to launch another event in Fort McMurray. And so great example of a Grand Prairie business started here and expanding across the province. It's fantastic to see. On the 25th, I was also at the Grand Prairie Golf and Country Club for the Chamber of Commerce evening mixer. And then on the 26th, I was down in Edmonton to meet with representatives of the University of Alberta's City Region Studies Centre to talk about the facilitating a conversation on the future of local government in the province. And then on the 28th, I had an opportunity to represent the city and council at the grand opening of the Hindu temple, which was just opened on 68th Avenue, east of the city. This has been a long-time dream for many of the members of our Grand Prairie community and members of the Hindu community across northern Alberta and northeastern British Columbia, all the way up to the territories, in fact. This temple is the northernmost temple in Canada, as far as I understand. And the intent of the temple is not just to be a place of religious ceremony or practice, but also to be a cultural center. They intend to host classes and cultural classes and yoga classes for all members of the community to attend free of charge. And I want to recognize the two Dr. Roys. They have been huge drivers of this project, and in their program they recognize the sponsors of the project. The two Dr. Roys together are the only ones at the platinum level with a contribution of over $750,000 to the project. So just really want to recognize their commitment to our community and to ensuring that Hindu families have an opportunity to congregate and celebrate their culture here locally. On the 30th, I was also in attendance to help celebrate the opening of the driving force location here in Grand Prairie. Certainly appreciate them bringing their operation to Grand Prairie. And on the 31st, I was here at City Hall in shorts because most of this was during my vacation to meet Lisa Sedek from the Grand Prairie Regional College Students Association to talk about opportunities for the Students Association to get more involved in civic life in the community. On the 1st, I was also in attendance at the mixer for the Native Fastball Championships, and then on the 2nd, I was down at South Bear Creek Park to help participate in the opening ceremonies of the event. I really appreciated the unique flavor of this event, and it's the first time I've been to a sporting event where the opening was accompanied by a prayer from an elder and a welcoming drumming, and I have to say that it really made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It was just very inspirational to see this mix of culture and sport. Certainly can't thank the organizers and participants enough. Kirsten has been mentioned previously, but I also want to recognize the partnership between Sturgeon Lake and the City of Grand Prairie. We don't often get opportunities to work with our First Nations communities together on projects, and I think that was something that was very special about this. And I believe that gets us up to date. If there's nothing else, then we'll call our council meeting adjourned. Thank you.